Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Crew First Culture Podcast. It's number two. Super excited to have you here today, and especially to anybody that is here for the first time. Want to thank you for hanging out with me, spending a little bit of time, and experiencing my little tiny piece of the gigantic podcast universe. Hopefully, we can have some fun, learn some things, and grow. That's why I'm here. I I'm very open to some feedback, to topics that you want to hear discussed, things that are on your mind. Send me messages. Let me know what you're thinking, how I can make it better. So, first off, I want to just kind of check in on everybody. It's kind of awkward because I can't really have conversations with anybody, but it's a it's a weird time right now for everybody, a hard time. Everybody's stuck at home. Things are things are shut down that normal times are just we take for granted, and I think it's been very eye-opening for everybody. I know there's a lot of people out there without jobs, and it's just a tough time. So make sure that you're talking with somebody, finding somebody that you can be honest and open about, and don't let things get bad. You know, there's always hope. There's always somebody that's there to help, and if you don't know that person, then please reach out to either me or just anybody. I don't think it's even a problem of knowing them. If you see somebody on social media that inspires you and motivates you, then give them a shout. People that are out there trying to inspire people for the right reasons are always very happy and very inspired themselves to hear from people that reach out to them. So there's always people out there. Don't feel like you're alone. I've seen the saying several times, and it's kind of goofy, but I get it. We're all alone together. So it's concerning to me because I know that just historically, firefighters and police officers are already dealing with a lot of a very high suicide rate. Almost as far as fire side, I know for sure is basically double the deaths that occur on duty. So it's a scary thing, and that already being a problem, is just adding in all that's going on right now. Just kind of it's eye-opening and definitely makes me want to be more aware of those around me. So again, if you're struggling, please reach out to somebody. You know, there's 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 lots of people out there. There's lots of resources, and definitely don't want to have to deal with things by yourself. So, that being said, I hope things are going well for everybody. They're, to be honest, it just sucks right now. I'm not much of a sugarcoater. It, life just sucks, and to be honest, coming from me, that's a little skewed because, I live kind of in the middle of nowhere. We have a little small 10-acre farm. We've always enjoyed being, you know, quarantined, basically, without using the word quarantine, but we've enjoyed being out by ourselves. We rarely see or talk to neighbors. It's not because we're, you know, just people that avoid every single person. It's just we're happy to be out here. We're happy to just enjoy being alone. And so, on one hand, yes, it hasn't changed a lot for us, but at the same time, it's made me realize that, man, I really miss just finding a reason to go into town and go into Lowe's or run to get some groceries. What stupid little things that usually probably irritate you because you're running errands and you have better things to do. But when you can't do those, it's almost like, well, crap, that's what I want to do. So it's irritating for everybody. And the people that I really feel for are the people that live in town with a tiny yard, or even worse, those that live in apartments. I just, man, I don't, I would not be in a very good place mentally. And I know I've said this to several people already, but if I was stuck in a small little area, no outside time that I could have to speak of, mentally I would be in a bad spot. So I feel and worry about those that are in that circumstance. And so, if our kids are wearing us out, they get sent outside, and that's an easy fix. And we don't have to worry about cars driving by, or who's peeking at them through the bushes or anything like that. So we're very lucky. And just I just kind of wanted to bring that up because I know it's hard for everybody, but I know some people have it worse off than others. So I am very appreciative for what we have, and don't want to take for granted the times that we've enjoyed, that are good. At the same time, there are some things that we really should be kind of taking advantage of right now. And of course, the added family time, and added time at home, the added time to do more projects that need to be done, things like that. It's so just like anything else, it's all about perspective. If you view this time as the absolute worst thing that could ever happen, and it's awful, and I hate every second of it, it's gonna be miserable, and you are gonna struggle. And I get it. Anything I say, trust me, I'm not telling you that I'm the most positive person in the world. I struggle with negativity every day. But if you're the person that says, man, this is tough, I don't like being told that I can't do whatever I want to do, but I've really enjoyed the extra time with my kids, or I've really been able to focus more at home on the projects that need to be done and things like that. Those are the people that are gonna come out of this a lot better off. And that's not a certain type of people. That's just people with a better mindset, a better perspective, and that's something that every one of us can do. Every one of us can have a better perspective on any and everything. And again, I promise you, anything that I say on this podcast, I am talking straight to myself. I hope that I don't ever give off the sense of arrogance or ego or anything like that, because most of what I talk about, most of what I have to say, are things that I've either learned that I need to do better, or that I am currently inner struggle fighting to make better. So speaking to myself, I mean, obviously I'm speaking to myself because there's nobody else here, but anything that I'm bringing up, it's because I need to hear it myself. So anyway, I just not even really what I was wanting to discuss today. I just wanted to kind of check in and give everybody, kind of a pat on the back. I know everybody's doing the best they can. I know it's a little bit of a struggle for everybody, but just try to encourage you guys, everybody, to have a good, positive attitude as best we can, and make the best of what we're going through, because having a bad attitude, being irritated, making it worse off isn't going to change anything. So that being said, it's up to us to make it as good or as bad as we want it to be. So just something to keep in mind. You know, again, we're not alone. We're we're struggling with this together. So don't feel alone. Uh, Something else is I'm just wanted to kind of share my excitement for this journey. again, I'm very new at this. I am probably going to stammer around a little bit, quite a bit. I hope I don't say every 5 words, which I'm concerned that I will, but I'm I'm learning, and I'm happy to happy to be able to have a platform that I can kind of talk and share the things that I want to share, and have some guests on that maybe are not big names but have big messages. Uh, yeah, it would be awesome to have some big name people on here eventually. I'm not in any way looking for that right now. I would like to have the guys and gals that you don't really know much about, but have really good messages, have really good causes that they're fighting for and working so hard for, and I want to hear from those people. I feel like that's kind of who I am. I said it the last time. I have no fire service pedigree. I listen to podcasts all the time, and I hear these people talking about jobs and over and over again, and last week this and fought this, and it makes me feel so insignificant and so just overwhelmed at the experience that these people have, and I have nothing to speak of. Yeah, I can honestly say that I've fought a lot of fire for my department. I've been very lucky in each rank to be able to have a lot of fire relative to my department. But that relative doesn't go very far when you start listening to other people, and yeah, okay, maybe some of it's stretched out a little bit. Okay, I get it. But still, it's very daunting for me to listen to these very experienced people that know so much and have experienced so much and all that, and to think, man, I don't want to appear like I'm competing with these people because I don't have the right. And so that being said, you're probably not going to hear much tactic wise from me, not because I I'm uncomfortable with tactics, not because I don't feel like I know much about tactics. It's just that's not my wheelhouse. I am confident and comfortable in getting jobs done that come up when I'm at work, but I'm not the kind of guy that I can just openly have conversations with tactic wise and feel like I have anything to contribute. So I'm sure I'll have guests on, and it's always fun to talk tactics. I'm not saying that it won't ever be discussed, but just kind of admitting that that is not my strong suit, and that I don't have a lot to offer in that realm. But at the same time, I still feel like there's a lot that I am passionate about, and a lot that I would like to kind of discuss with other people that I have on. So again, long answer and long way around, me just saying that I'm very excited for this journey. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it leads to good things. Hopefully it leads to, reaching some people that I wouldn't be able to reach, and making a difference in some people's lives. And so super excited about that. Very blessed to even have this opportunity. So really all of that was just kind of the intro. Just wanted to check in and give you some feedback on all that stuff. Kind of what I was wanting to talk about today is something that I'm very passionate about, and that's professional slash officer development. And just training people for that next job, training people to take your spot, making people as good as you are. And that's something that is big, very big to me, and something that has literally been what has driven me to the point where I'm at today and doing exactly what I'm doing at this very minute. I I became promoted to captain right at 2 years ago, and so obviously when that happens, your mind goes through a process. It's yeah, I was an officer for 5.5, 6 years before that, but it was mainly a substitute teacher officer role. When the captains took off, I would be the guy that takes their spot for a day or two or whatever. And it just, yeah, you learn things and it's good to kind of figure out who you are as a leader, who you want to be, but at the same time, it's it's just not being a supervisor of people that to where you can kind of set things up how you want it, things like that. So once you once we I did promote to captain and I was that person in charge of a set group of people, it really made me realize how much of a responsibility that was and how big of a role that I have to play in that shift or in that station, excuse me. And no, I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm such a big deal, but if that crew is an awesome crew that has a super high morale and their work ethic is off the charts and they're tight and everything is going great, it's it's because I'm putting them in a good spot to do that. If they suck, if their training is, if they don't ever train, if their work ethic is junk and they don't get out of the recliners all day long, then that's what I allow, and that's because of me. That's my responsibility. So when I say the crew that's good and tight and all that is because of me. I don't necessarily mean that it's all me. I just mean that succeed or fail, it's me. I put them in a spot to do whatever they're going to do, and I am responsible for making them good or I'm responsible for making them bad. So it was very eye-opening to me, and it really started some gears turning. I really wanted to start reaching out to admin to either create or help create or even just bring in some type of officer development, some type of professional development because my particular department we have nothing. We don't have anything officially like that, and I just don't understand. I don't understand how you can promote somebody to be a formal leader in your department and not really give them the tools to succeed. I don't get it. I just it blows my mind, and it's one of those things to where everybody's passionate about something. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be about leadership, it could be about training, it could be about motorcycles or crap, I don't know, anything. Whatever that passion is, you really look at that topic differently than people that aren't passionate about it. So so if we're discussing a topic that you're passionate about and you see issues with it, you are going to want to fix those issues because that's what really drives you. And so that's where I was at, and I was getting nothing. I was getting stonewalled. I was getting unanswered emails and yeah, that sounds great. We'll look into that and yeah, that's in the 5-year planning whatever. Yeah, and that's what I got. And I was so frustrated, and that frustration led to irritation and anger and resentment. And I got to where I would thought to myself, if I don't get this out, I'm going to end up shooting out some angry, hateful email that's going to get me in trouble. That's, more, even worse than that, it's going to ruin the message I'm trying to give, I'm trying to share, because I just lost all tact and just lost my cool. And I was not going to allow myself to do that. So that being said, I started looking for other ways to get that out, and talking with some friends, just listening to their stories, it kind of made me realize that my department has a hole, or excuse me, I have a hole that my department was not going to be able to fill. They were not willing to fill, and they were not able to fill. And okay, that's fine. But I've got to figure out ways to fill that void, that are constructive, that are good, that are that are done in a way that pushes my message for the positive instead of ruins my message because I lose my temper. So I started a small Facebook page with my department, just to kind of share some training ideas. Just I thought it would be a great idea, and I didn't realize how many of these training pages there were when I did this. I thought I was doing something cool, but I wanted to just, so if we run a training drill during a day, take some pictures, throw them on there, kind of describe what we did, so other people see that, hey, this is something we can do, and then they can do it, and I can see, hey, these guys did this drill the other day, it looked pretty fun. Let's try this. And just thought it was a good idea to maybe kind of start the process of getting some of this pressure off of my, for lack of better terms, brain, because it was really starting to get at me. It was driving me crazy. So did that, and it was good. It was nice to be a part of something like that, but it was closed to just my department, so there wasn't a lot of anything going on with it. And although it was nice to be a part of, I felt like, okay, there's something better, there's something bigger, there's another step to take. So at that time, that's kind of when uh started looking further, and about the same time just started thinking about names of groups or businesses or whatever you want to call it, that I would like to, that would kind of convey my thinking on leadership. And Crew First Culture came to mind because that's me. That's who I am as a leader, who I want to be as a leader. And I say it all the time that, I know that the better I take care of my crew, the more they know I care about them, the more I have their back, then the more willing they're going to be to have mine. The the harder they're going to work. The the farther outside of their comfort zone they're going to go to 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 get done whatever needs to get done. And so that's it. I want to take care of my crew first. They come first. And culture is huge to me. It's kind of a new thing for me, just probably within the last 6 to 8 months of listening to culture stuff, and learning about just the term, and how it kind of relates to the firehouse. And it's huge. When I promoted to an officer or to a captain, You go into a station that you've never been, you're brand new, and you're in charge of guys that you've never been in charge of, and you can either make that culture better than whatever level it was before, or you can make it worse. And so the first year and a half I was a captain, I didn't really do much for that. I wanted to be in a good place and I wanted to do my part and all that, but it wasn't until about 6 months ago to where it really started clicking for me, and I really started kind of realizing if I am not intentional about making this culture better, then it won't be any better, or it won't be to the levels that it could be. Because creating a culture, building a culture, changing culture, just keeping a culture alive, it's so much work. It's all so much work. It's not easy and it's not fast. And if you think that you can do it just by following the rules and doing good and being a good example, it's not going to happen. There's so many things that you have to do and have to fight for and have to speak up, and it's just a lot of work. So that's what I went with, Crew First Culture. I started the Instagram page, and then a little bit later started the Facebook page, which is basically the same thing, just kind of different platforms. And so again, it was awesome. It was very cool that you start reaching people that you would have never reached. But again, I just felt like, okay, there's got to be something bigger. And so that's when started writing. Writing helps a lot, just getting things out, being able to think about some things on my way home from work and get that out on paper, and just to free up my mind. It's been awesome. And then kind of to speed things up, just as I'm writing, again, it feels like a good thing, but I just start feeling like, man, I'm feeling pulled to take another step, and that another step just kind of started becoming apparent, that is to try a podcast. So that's kind of, so what I'm getting at basically is just my passion to find a better way to do our officer development, professional development, creating something formal. That passion that was not answered by the administration, by the decision makers, has led to where I'm at. And I'm sorry that was a very long explanation of that, but just to kind of give you a background of the topic I brought up, and it's just so interesting to find out, what people are passionate about, and how that has defined them, how that has carved their path. And sitting here talking about it is so obvious that that passion has been used to bring me along this journey every step of the way. And I'm very big on a very spiritual person, and I know that there's bigger plans than I will ever have, and I am a part of that, thankfully. And I am so blessed to be given a message that I feel like is a good message, and I'm blessed to be a part of a plan to share that. And so I try to keep my eyes open. This is very far out of my comfort zone. I'm not a front of the line person. I'm usually a more hang in the background, throw out a one-liner or a funny movie quote every once in a while, dry humor person. So trust me, I'm not a self-promoter. I'm just not very spoken like this. So, uh, but I am very willing to be led where I am, feel like I'm being led, and that's kind of brought me here. So anyway, getting back on task, I just and listening to tons of podcasts, it seems like this is such a huge problem in the fire department, just in general. And I don't understand. I don't understand how something so important as formal leadership can be ignored to the point that it is, as widespread as it is. I just don't get it. And maybe that's just because I'm so passionate about that particular subject. Maybe it's not as big of a deal to other people. Maybe as adults, it's just something that we should be able to, you know, figure out on our own, like everybody hears all the time. But it drives me crazy and I don't get it. So I love, one of my favorite things as an officer is to push people to grow. And even more so, I almost find it as a game for myself to do it in a way that they don't notice. I've got a couple senior firefighters. Actually, one of my firefighters is the senior firefighter on the entire shift, and the other one is, he's probably about middle of the road as far as time on for firefighters. And I, it's fun for me to find situations to challenge them to be better, to grow, to kind of take another step. And uh, I don't know. I just think it's fun to do that. And like I said, if I can do it in a way that they don't really even notice that they're getting pushed, or they don't really even notice that they're getting tested or challenged, that's even better for me because that's almost like they're figuring it out all on their own. And it's just I think that those times are much better learning experiences than times where they're being told something or taught something from somebody else. If you learn something on your own and think that, man, I kind of figured that out by myself, I think that makes a bigger impact on people sometimes. So it and it these are all just little things mainly. You you have a situation come up that really should be dealt kind of behind the scenes. That's a time where I've come to one or the other of them and said, "Hey, man, what's going on? Is this something you want me to handle, or can you handle it?" And mainly expecting and hoping them to say, "No, we got this. I'll take care of it." And then most generally it is. So those are fun times for me. I love I love pushing a person to limits that they didn't know they had, past limits they didn't know they had. Uh, I've had people that have so much to give, so much experience, so much heart, so much of a say and influence, but they don't know it. I don't know if it's because people in the past that have been their supervisors have never pushed them to do that. I don't know that they've never been told that they have all that inside. I don't know. But to take those people and to show them, hey, you are an awesome leader. You just don't know it. Let me help you be that person. And to see that kind of manifest over time, that's that's why I want to be a leader right there. That's why I want to be an officer who who has the ability to reach people like that. And that, man, that is there's not much that beats that for me, to see people grow and to reach and even exceed potential. That's good times. And I'll even, kind of correlate that with home too. We've got some great kids, and every one of them frustrate the crap out of us basically every day because we know that they're capable of better things, better choices that they're making. But we're all human. We all make mistakes. And so you're trying to find ways of kind of helping them to grow, helping them to learn and teaching them and all that. And the times that you see your kids kind of do good things like holding a door for somebody or opening a door for your wife or whatever, and times that you see, wow, he learned that from me, or he's learning that from us. And it's kind of the same for me. It's nice to see what you're doing is helping somebody, I guess, is just the easiest way to say it. And so that's those are those are a big deal for me. And to be honest, this is a thought that came to mind when my wife and I were having a conversation about, some leadership stuff with our two jobs. And I just realized that why I love being a supervisor has nothing to do with me being able to supervise people. I don't I don't get anything out of being in charge of people. That means nothing to me. I would be a very hollow, angry, miserable person if all I got out of leadership and supervision was that I have people that I'm in charge of. I I couldn't do it. I just that's not me. What I get out of supervising, what I get out of leading is I have the ability to be in charge of my environment. As a captain, I can create that station, that firehouse, that culture that is great, that everybody wants to be a part of, that is a blueprint for success. That's what I can do in that role. And that's what makes the difference for me. That's what makes me want to come to work is no, I don't get off on having people underneath me. I get my drive from being able to create an environment that is the environment that I've always wanted to work for. So that's big to me. That's why I do it. And hopefully, hopefully you're either kind of on that same page as a leader or officer or supervisor, or hopefully if you're not at that formal level, hopefully you're working for somebody that kind of has that same mindset because I've I've worked with the other side. I sometimes think that, man, have I had more bad officers than I've had good? Because it seems like it, but then again, maybe it's just because those bad officers stick out more. And I hate that. I wish it wasn't like that. But I've always been something I always say is I want to learn from everybody. And I've learned just as much, if not more, from those bad officers as I have from the good officers I've worked for. And even if that is just, man, I am not going to treat my people like that. Or, wow, if I am ever of an officer, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to. It's I've learned a lot, and it's amazing to me that you have people that you look at and you think that there's so much potential, but they just they're not good people to work for, and that's, it's hard to go through, but using that as experiences for later on to learn from makes it worth it. I've definitely learned a lot from not only the good officers, the good senior firefighters, whatever, but the bad ones too. And if we don't learn from those people, then we're wasting that time that we kind of had to push through. So take advantage of those situations as well. And yeah, everybody goes through times where things aren't as good as they should be, and officers aren't good as they should be, but it's always going to change. Just try to keep pushing, keep motivated, keep doing what you're doing, trying to do good things. Just keep it going. And that's hard to do, but just try your best. I was looking through some notes. I've absolutely not went over any of my notes, but that's fine. I feel like these are some good things to talk about. I think the next step before I make this too long is just what are we doing to make things better? I I feel like a lot of times, and this is again, this is speaking directly to me and and from a situation that I myself had to learn from for myself, is that when we don't have these formal development classes, formal development programs, formal mentorship, anything like that, it's almost like we want to use that as a scapegoat. We want to use that as a reason that we fail. You know, why can't administration come down with some type of program for us so we can create better officers? Okay, I get it. Trust me, I just explained how frustrated I am with my own department because of that very reason. And for a while, I was that person that blamed it on them, that used that as a source of frustration and used that as a source of excuse of why we aren't getting maybe as high a quality officers as we should. But then I came to realize that, what am I doing? What am I doing to help that? Why can't I be the guy to affect as many people in my small little circle of influence that I can to do my part? And that's kind of when I realized that, okay, if you do have those things in your department, the development programs or whatever, anything like that, that's awesome. I I'm I'm envious of you. But if you don't, like so many apparently do, as so many apparently don't have, then we can either gripe about it and do nothing, or we can get frustrated with it and use that frustration, use that focus that energy on making a difference. And even if you're one person and you have a station of two or three other people, that is two or three other people that you can touch, you can reach, you can make better. And that's what we have got to do. We have got to start taking responsibility for what we can be responsible for. Now, I'm at a very small station relatively for our department. Right now, I have four other people. It can be as low as three other people. So, a, a crew of total 4 or 5 people is all I'm going to have, including myself. So, my circle of influence is relatively very small, 3 or 4 people. But that's 3 or 4 people that are either going to be better, they're either going to grow, either going to, you know, develop into what they possibly can because I'm doing my best to make that happen, or it's going to be 3 or 4 people that just slack off and kind of fade away or fall into a slump or whatever. That's up to me, and that is not a rank that is that I'm getting that I'm getting that from. That is everybody. Everybody can give something. Now we've got a new guy right now. This is our second new guy we've had in about 6 months. Okay, that new guy, and I'm sorry, I'm using new guy because it's a guy. That new firefighter, new probationary firefighter, yeah, she doesn't have the experience to give. Okay, but hopefully being new, they have a drive. They have, you know, a lot of just energy, I guess is the best way I could say it. They have things to give, and even if it's just to kind of inject some energy into the crew and kind of reinvigorate them, help re-engage the crew. That's huge. I don't even care if they're not able to add any experience to conversation or training. If they can add energy, if they can add some drive, if they can push us to do more and to be more excited, that is huge and that is needed so much. So I don't I don't like hearing that I'm just a firefighter. I don't have much to give, or I'm pretty new still. I'm not really a leader. Okay, maybe you don't call yourself a leader, but you do everything you can to lead somebody. Even if it's you got some people that aren't big on working out, just talk them into working out with you. Be the one to start something. Be the one to ask for some training. You know, just do your part to help. Do your part to grow, to learn. Learn the job above you. Brush up on the jobs below you. You don't have to be an expert in everything, but just engaging in everybody's activities does a lot. And I've been a very firm believer since I've been at this station that I'm at right now. Being limited personnel, uh, I'm very likely could have a driver ride with an ambulance one time to leave me without a driver. If we catch a fire while he's gone, I'm not missing a fire because I don't have a driver. I want to have one of those firefighters trained to the point where they are competent in that truck to where they can pump it. And no, on paper, that's not something that needs to be done. But as an officer, as their leader, I need to be doing that anyway. They need to be able to do jobs above them. And no, it's not for everybody. One of my guys doesn't want anything to do with driving or pumping. I get it, that's fine. But I just want to be prepared as much as possible for any situation that can come up and just training people and I want them I want them to be better than me at everything because I know that that makes everybody better. Because I guarantee you, if that I start seeing them get to my level at certain areas and certain topics or disciplines, that's going to make me want to be better because I don't want them to be better than me. Yeah, I say that, but that's going to make me kind of say, hey, I need to work harder because I want you to be better than me, but you're not going to be because I'm not going to allow it because I'm going to work hard too. I hope I'm hope I'm conveying that accurately. That as I'm saying that, I'm thinking to myself, man, that could sound really bad. I guess what I'm saying is I want to train them to the point where they are as good as me and use that to make myself better too because having an ego like most firefighters do, I want to be the best just because I'm competitive, not because I'm I think I'm the best, but I want to at least compete and try my hardest. So anyway, just some thoughts. I really think that we struggle as in the fire service of creating opportunities to train actual leaders, but at the same time, we've got so much ability within ourselves to compensate for that. This this service is so full of rock stars. It's crazy. And even if you don't really have any on your department to look up to, it's so easy to look around, look at Facebook, get into some groups, start following some pages, Instagram. There's podcasts after podcasts of guys hungry and just driven for the job, guys and gals, I'm sorry. And it's so easy to get. It's just out there. So if you don't have that senior person ahead of you training you, making you better, then it's time to look outside. Look outside your department. There's so much out there. So many resources. We've got to really start taking responsibility for ourselves and for our circle of influence. So, better fire service starts with you, starts with me, starts with us, and we cannot put that on anybody else. We have to put that on ourselves. So I I hope that kind of strikes something with you. If you were able to hang out with me the entire 50 minutes, I can't believe I've been sitting here talking this long. But anyway, let's make it better. This is such a great job, such a great service, such a great life. There's no reason that we shouldn't enjoy it. There's no reason that we shouldn't want to work our hardest to make the service better, to make each other better. So it's just keep your eyes open. Be Keep the drive alive and keep pushing. I wanted to kind of give a little teaser. I'm going to be recording with my first guest for the next show. I'm super excited about it. I won't give names out, but somebody that's been very instrumental in kind of helping me find the next step in this little journey. So really looking forward to it. Going to bring some energy to the show that I'm sure I just can't add for myself. But again, I want to thank you so much for spending what time you spent with me. I appreciate it so much. I'm excited to have you here. Please let me know if you have any comments, any questions, any discussion topics. My email is crewfirstculture@yahoo.com. I've got a Facebook and Instagram page under Crew First Culture. So give me a shout and we'll listen to you next time. Stay safe.